morning. I am here to tell you an awesome story of God's provision. So I recently have been going through something very difficult with one of my sons, whose dog was tragically hit by a car and destroyed the dog's leg. And my son is a believer, and he'd been praying over the dog and just asking God to heal the dog's leg and, believing God for a miracle. But with each passing day, the dog's leg was getting worse, and the dog was actually to the point of trying to chew his own leg off, which I've never heard of before. And yes, it's as horrific as it sounds. He would manage to get out of his cone and was trying to chew his own leg off. So we're trying to figure out the financials for this situation, because it's now coming to thousands of dollars. I mean, $1,300 has already been invested. It's another $3,300 to do the surgery. And then, you have to consider medications and aftercare and all this. And it was just getting to the point where it's like, we really do not know how we're going to pay for this. My son is very young. He when you're young, you don't have built up credit, and the lines of credit you already have you maxed out, because creditors don't yet see you as someone they can put all of their trust into. Anyways, so he's looking to Mama. And Mama, me, can get approved for loans and has ways of paying it. But I'm stressing out, because I'm spending my days praying, asking God for wisdom and what's the right thing for me to do. And it's like, I have this internal battle going on inside me. Well, of course the right thing to do is to pay for this surgery. But then it's like, the other voice of wisdom in me clicks in and says, you're going to put your own financial situation in jeopardy if you do this. What if something else comes up of extreme importance, and now, I'll be over my head in debt, and just the waves of indecision and trying to weigh the decisions that can and should be made for the dog's benefit as well. And yesterday afternoon into evening, I was literally coming to a place of complete despair. I had a pit of despair in my stomach. And by the night, my blood was running cold. I have never been in such a hard place to make such a hard decision ever before. And I finally talked things through with my husband and my mother, and I settle on what I know needs to be done and what I'll be seeking out to do the following day. And my son ends up calling me, and I say to him, we have to have a heart-to-heart adult conversation right now about this situation and what needs to be done for the dog's well-being, for the care he'll need afterwards. Oh, and another part I left out. My son's been working 4.5 hours away from home. And he's been trying to move up in his career. He's trying to do something with his life and make something of himself. And it's just been a lot for a young man to deal with. So I tell him we need to have a heart-to-heart talk, and I start telling him, like, honey, I'm looking at my financials and my resources, and I'm realizing, like, it really is more than I feel like I'm capable of doing. And he says, Mom, Jesus is faithful. And I say, honey, I know Jesus is faithful, but I'm also always praying and asking him for wisdom. And he pipes in and says, Mom, Jesus is faithful. And I said, yeah, I know he is. And he says, just stop what you're saying right now, because I already know what you're going to say and you don't need to say it. I said, okay. He says, the vet just called me. And they told me they're going to put me on a promissory program that allows me to make small, manageable payments over a lengthy amount of time, so that this doesn't make it hard for me to live. They don't want a down payment for the surgery, nothing. Like, they're gonna work up this payment plan for me with them. He said they told me they don't do this for very many people. They very rarely do this. But for me and my dog, they're gonna make an exception. I have to tell you, besides all of the praying and everything, from the extreme pit of despair that I was in, to him saying those words to me, I was literally struggling to absorb it. My mind was struggling to absorb the information that was coming into it. I had been so wallowing in the despair of, I don't know what to do. This is such a horrible situation to be in. To all of a sudden, it's handled. Completely handled, and there's nothing left for me to do. Then on top of that, I say to my son, okay, like, that's awesome that that's handled, I said, but there's still the issue of his aftercare. Like, who's going to take care of him and make sure he's getting his meds? And he goes, I'm going to. He said, I've made the decision that after Thursday, I'm not coming back to work here. I'm going to go home and be with my dog and take care of my dog. There's more important things in life than money or position. And he had so much peace in his voice. I mean, just a deep peace in him about this decision he was making. And if you knew all the prayers I had prayed over the past week about this situation, you would understand how profound what this happening means to me. Every prayer I lifted up was answered, and he completely delivered me out of a pit of despair. He delivered me from financial burden. He delivered me from having to make a decision that could devastate my son. He delivered us from it all and gave us a perfect, finished work. perfect finished work, completeness in Yeshua. Shalom. And my son called me this morning to let me know that they are indeed going to be emailing him this payment plan and no down payment needed, and that the dog is doing great, that he's going to be going into surgery here in about 10 minutes from the time that I'm making this video. And they will be amputating his leg. The leg does have to go, but he's going to get to live, and he's a happy dog. I think he's going to continue just to be a happy, loving, vibrant animal that's going to bring my son so much love for the rest of their lives together. And anyways, I just had to come on here and give this praise report and just say, like, the King is alive and well, and he is still good to his people, trustworthy to his own word, his own character. He does uphold his own name in integrity and word and truth to his people. And even when we're lacking faith and we're caving into despair of we in ourselves, we don't know what to do, but our King, he swoops in like an eagle on eagle's wings and snatches us right out of the air right before we hit the ground. He is mighty to save. He is still doing what he's always done, protecting, restoring, reviving, and taking care of those who fear his name. Oh man. In Jesus' name, Yeshua's name, King of Kings, all glory to our Father Jehovah. Glorify him today. Hope this blessed you and encourages you in whatever struggles you have or may have in the future. God bless you, and shalom, shalom.